We're desiring to be healed and made whole by Jesus and to bring that healing and wholeness into the world. Last week, we talked about the spiritual discipline of lamentation, becoming students of lament together. Lament is about listening to the stories of brokenness and anger, giving value and voice to people who suffer all around us. Lament is refusing to turn a blind eye. Lament is choosing to align ourselves with the grief and suffering of others. Lament speaks truth, and lament holds on to hope that God is here and God will heal. So this week, as we continue in the social justice stream of Christ-like practice, our practice of lament is asking us to look again. Friends, let's look again at the injustices plaguing our neighborhoods and newspapers. Let's look again when we'd rather just get on with our just fine lives. Let's look again when we hear ourselves talking more about the looters than about the murderers. Let's look again when we keep trying to convince ourselves we're not racist. Let's look again when the stories of death are threatening to fill our heads with gory images of bloodshed and brutality, because that is where the lament activates us, changes us into the image of Jesus, who's willing to sacrifice everything, even one's own comfort, for the healing and wholeness of all people. Let's look again, like Rizpah did, upon the rotting bodies of her dead sons as the wild animals tore away at their flesh day after day. Her boys were impaled on the mountain of the Lord in some ludicrous effort to appease those in power. You can read all about this unbelievably unjust situation in 2 Samuel 21. I learned about Rizpah's story from Austin Channing Brown as she describes their story in a podcast called Climbing the Mountain of Injustice. Rizpah chooses the way less traveled, the way of lament, the way of people saying she's crazy. Rizpah chooses to climb up that mountain and look on the injustice with her own two eyes, day after day after day. She stares at death, Austin Channing Brown declares, and determines that it has redefined her life. She is pissed, and her anger is not wrong. Her anger points to what is wrong and to what could be made right. Anger is not destructive, it is instructive. It's not going to be easy, this work of social justice. The compassion of Jesus is saturated in lament. So let's choose to look again and again and again for the sake of healing and wholeness in us and around us.